Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode. I'll be talking more about them at the end. Preparing the cabin roof for winter has felt akin to getting my little girl ready to go outside in the snow. You see, it's all about the layers. For her, that means long sleeve shirt, sweater, jacket, boots, snow pants, mitts, hat, and scarf. For the cabin, that means rafters, barn boards, plywood, leak barrier, insulation, strapping, drip edges, steel, and the chimney. Today, we'll be tackling the final 3 layers, starting with the drip edges. We don't expect to complete everything today, but we at least want to get a good start at it.
We can start on that one now if you want.
Yep.
Okay.
And we got to do this one here. I can lift the...
Yeah, lift one by your hand first. Yeah,
That's good.
You can get these somehow.
Okay.
Catching something. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, good. All right. You got an end? What I'm thinking is I'll give you a bit and I was just thinking screw nailing in on that one. Ooh. Yeah, that's good
Ooh, tough stuff. Wow, that's really good.
Okay, I'm let go. Okay, let go. Okay, that's pretty even over there.
Okay, you good?
Yeah. All right, you're letting go. There.
Is that where it needs to be?
Yep.
Well, as you can see, we have the first 3 sheets of steel installed, and it's gone smoothly so far. But in typical fall fashion, it's raining again. It's not fun to be outside in the cold fall rain as it is, but to be on top of the roof, it just makes it that much more challenging. But we'll make do. Anyway, if you look down here, you'll see the chimney support box, and the 4th sheet goes over top of this. So right now I'm taking some measurements, and we'll be cutting a hole in this 4th sheet. My dad's inside right now, and he's getting the lengths of chimney together. So once we get the 4th sheet on with the opening cut, we'll put the chimney on, get it sealed, and then we'll go from there. While I'm up here, I might as well talk a bit about the steel, because I'm sure some of you have questions as you've been watching. First of all, this is salvage steel. So technically, this steel is meant for walls, the walls of buildings, not for the roofs, but I don't think there's too much of a difference, probably just in how it's been shaped. And I don't know if it's thicker or not, but beggars can't be choosers, and it's in great shape. I'm really happy to have it on top of this cabin. I've got no issues putting it on here. The main difference I've noticed with this siding steel is that it has more ridges than that of conventional roofing steel. The ridges are also more pronounced, which makes these panels sturdier, but also harder to seal when it comes to chimney installation. If you look at the patterning of the screws, or the placement of the screws, you'll notice that they are in the flats, not on top of the ridges. Now obviously when we got a hold of this steel, the holes were already pre-drilled. Now I know there's different schools of thought on where the screws should be placed, but as you can tell, that decision was already made for us. But again, I'm just really liking this steel. It's looking good, and it's gonna last a long time. Okay, now that I'm at the bottom, I'm looking up, you can see the drip edges that we put on the rakes and the eave. And my dad is the one who actually bent that steel up, and he did a fantastic job. It looks really good and it matches nicely with the steel. You'll see that we've left a gap. You can just kind of see it underneath the roof there. That's a 1-inch gap between the underside of the steel and the top of the drip edge, and that gap is for ventilation. So although this cabin isn't vented from the inside, the roof itself is vented. Next year in the spring, we're planning on filling in the gap or covering it over with a type of screen to keep bugs out and rodents, but we'll still allow for airflow. But that is another job for another day. Unfortunately, we didn't have a jigsaw on site, so we had to use the next best thing. Admittedly, the angle grinder isn't a great choice when it comes to making clean circle cuts, but with a little finesse, my dad was able to make it work. Now it was time to see how well the panel fit. Yep, looks great.
Okay, let me know. Okay. That's a little better. Now it's just about where she should be. Really hanging on to it.
Just about, but the opening does need a couple corrections. Ready?
All day on the chimney. Okay, let me know.
Okay. Just then, we received word that a heavy storm was headed our way. In fact, a tornado warning had been sent out for our area. Not wanting to be stranded at the cabin site, we decided it was best to pack up and head out. The quicker, the better. My camera managed to record a couple lightning bolts before I packed it away. Long story short, we were able to make it to safety before the full impact of the storm hit. Thankfully, despite the high winds, there weren't any tornadoes that touched down, and everyone fared well, including the cabin. We returned the next day to see snowflakes in the air. I was reminded of how little time we had left to complete the roof before winter. I had flashbacks of last year, where we worked on icy eave logs and purlins to get the rafters on, so that we could at least tarp the roof for winter. It wasn't easy, but we did it, only because we had to. But when the ice and snow come to call this year, I have no desire to greet them again while on the roof. Anyway, as it turned out, we forgot to cut the chimney opening large enough to accommodate the heat shield, which is why you'll notice that we've removed the fourth sheet for the second time now. The job of the heat shield is to provide extra spacing for the rubber boot. The rubber boot's job is to prevent water from seeping into the chimney opening.
That's exactly what it should be.
Yeah, it's good.
You get it.
I used high-temp silicone caulking underneath the boot's rubber gasket to help seal it against the roof. Then we put in a bunch of roofing screws to press it down tight. I hated putting all those holes through the steel, but in this case, the more screws, the better. My dad wanted to give me a hand with a storm collar, so we put the extension ladder against the roof and tied it off at the bottom so that it wouldn't slip out. Then he joined me on the roof. We made sure to caulk the storm collars as well.
Roughly 55 inches.
You go from here,
Oh, all right.
so that's 42 and a half. To be honest, I'm not a fan of how the rubber boot looks on the roof, although the storm collars do help to clean up its appearance a little bit. In the future, I plan to fabricate a larger collar to fit over the entire boot, which I believe will fit much better with the rest of the roofing steel. Our next job was to get the rest of the chimney on and secure it with a couple roof braces. That's when I discovered the bracing kit I purchased was missing a crucial part. Unfortunately, this meant I would have to travel into town to find the missing piece. Our work would have to be put on hold until I got back. Now it's true that we could have continued putting the roofing steel on instead, But then I wouldn't have any strapping to stand on once I returned to finish the chimney, which is why we decided to once again pack up early for the day. This is how our one-day project, delayed by a storm and then a missing part, turned into a 3-day ordeal. But sometimes that's just how it goes. You make a plan, something happens, and you readjust. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's episode and helping to support this channel. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which to create your website. Squarespace has powerful blogging tools to tell your story, share your updates, and post photos and videos. Stand out in any inbox with Squarespace email campaigns. Our all-in-one platform makes it easy to unify your brand voice. From your homepage to your emails, Squarespace can authenticate with your social profiles, letting you auto-post your content to Twitter, Facebook, or Tumblr, helping you to grow your social following. Go to squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/theoutsider to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. I'll end the episode here, not because I want to, but because I'm off to town. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, be well, and God bless.